Question. I have coached hundreds of entrepreneurs, and most of them, you know who you are. 'Cause you're similar to me, where it's like, Damon, I know I need a break, but I can't afford to take a break. It could be financial, but oftentimes it's psychologically. I can't afford to take a break. What do you? I can't take a break. And I found there's two big reasons why we can't take a break. The first big reason is that our to-do list is too long. We got too much stuff to do. I have my yep, there it is. I have my index cards. Shout out to y'all in the comments with the recent episodes talking about an index card. It's a messy index card, but actually it's my plan for the week on here. And I use index cards because if it doesn't fit on the index card, feel free to pause. Nothing secret on there. But if you feel free, if it doesn't fit on the index card, and with my messy handwriting, then it's not going to get done this week. And so it forces me to cull things down. You might feel like you can't take a break because the to-do list is too long. You got too much stuff going on. And of course, you have a few options when it comes to this. One thing is to prioritize, which is what I do. The second thing is to get some support. And I'm going to talk about some virtual support tools, whether it's using like AI or just good old-fashioned software to take some of that stuff off of your plate. Or it could be a person where you get a virtual assistant or a real life assistant, what have you, who will take some of that stuff off your plate. So the prioritization often is the challenge when it comes to that. The second layer of that is that we often want to stay in control of whatever we're doing. And that can get into perfectionism. I've done a TED Talk about that. You can see it in the links below. It could get into perfectionism. It could get into wanting things to be in a certain way. And if you want things to be in a certain way and you're by yourself or you're not training or bringing in support that knows exactly how you want it, or the support that you bring in has their own big ideas, which might actually, frankly, be better than yours or stronger than yours or more appropriate for yours than yours, but you're not open to that, then you're going to have that pile on of saying, I can't take a break. If you feel like you're doing everything and you're a founder, then you might need to find a way to offload some of that. Again, either virtually through software or virtually or in person through an administrative assistant. It might be the point where your business is big enough where you need to hire people, or you might actually need to scale back and figure out what exactly is your priority. There's quite a few great books about it. I can throw some recommendations and the links a little bit later on in the replay of the show. There's a couple that are coming to mind immediately. But if you're curious about that, throw some comments in there. Like, is that something that you're struggling with as far as feeling like you can actually take a break? The second reason why we often feel like we can't take a break, and it's something that I struggle with a little bit, but I wouldn't call it a struggle, more like a process, is the timing is too great. This book needs to come out this fall. If it doesn't come out this fall, it's not going to quite hit the pop cultural moment. This is the moment. This is the time. You know what? I need to take this meeting overseas. I know it's not a great time to travel, or I got stuff going on with my family and all that, but this is the time. What we need to do, myself included, is to separate what timing is based on actual facts and what timing is based on a deadline or a pressure that we're putting on ourselves. I'll give you a simple example. When I'm actually going to be doing some interesting stuff in the publishing world. I'll just keep it very broad because I need to keep it private for right now. Interesting stuff in the publishing world soon. But it's based on my own publishing company. There was one cool thing I wanted to do, I want to say at the top of the year. And I was like, this is going to be hot. It actually involves the show. Like, I can't wait for y'all to see it. It's going to be amazing. I might be more excited than you are. And then things got jumbled around. My priorities got shifted. There was stuff going on at home. There was stuff going on with work stuff because I'm a consultant, so I was working with other folks. There was even stuff going on with some of my coaching clients, and they really needed my support at the time, and happy to be supportive of y'all. You know who you are. And so I felt this weird pressure. I'm like, no, I said I was going to do this publishing project, and it was going to come out, let's say, in the spring. It's not going to come out in the spring now. I'm failing this. And I had to calm myself down. I was like, wait a second. Okay, does anyone else know about this project aside from the folks that are involved in it? No. Okay. So the public doesn't know about it. I didn't promise y'all. Okay. Is the publisher breathing down my neck to get it out? Well, yes, but you're the damn publisher. Damon, you're the publisher. You're working for yourself, right? Which is what I was getting at the top of the show. You're working for yourself. Okay. And does this timing matter as far as it needing to be out, say, in the spring? I would like it in the spring, but does it have to be in the spring? No. And as soon as I went through that really brief process I just went through, and I was saying this stuff out loud, I was totally by myself. I was like, oh. And suddenly everything calmed down. You see, my shoulders are up. Shoulders just kind of calmed down. It's like, calm down. Nobody knows about this project except for the folks that are involved. It's not expected at a certain time except for by you. And the timing doesn't matter except for you really want to do it. So the project's still happening. I'm excited. But suddenly it's like, oh, I have some breathing room because I got the family stuff going on at home, and I have stuff going on with my coaching clients, and I have stuff going on with my consulting clients. And I was doing some travel earlier this year too. So like, okay, why am I putting that pressure on myself? So those are those are the two reasons I think why we feel like we can't take a break. Number one, we have too much stuff on our list, but there's actually things we can do to get some of that off the list. It might take some time, but that's actually more in our control than we think. And the second thing is that we think that the timing is ideal, and that's why we push ourselves so hard. Sometimes the timing is ideal with my second startup, Cuddler, which connects people for hugs. We launched it at the exact right time as a co-founder, along with two other co-founders. Launched at the exact right time, and then we ended up selling the startup exactly at the right time. In some ways, we couldn't have planned it. We had some planning in there, but and I was a COO, so a lot of the strategy was I was pushing the strategy part, but we can't take full credit for it. That was a case of timing. So if you read The Bite-Sized Entrepreneur, I talk about the story behind that, as well as in some of my later books. But again, they're all in the complete Bring Your Worth collection. And even with that, I knew I was pushing myself, and we all knew we were pushing ourselves because of this particular timing. But as I said, I have a newsletter at joindamon.me. You guys can join for free. I talked about that in the Wednesday newsletter I do, again, every Wednesday. I talked about that this morning, where often I would push myself based on the promise that I would take a break immediately afterwards. That was my promise to myself. Yeah, I'll do these late nights, and I'm at home with my partner and I's first kid at the time too. He was like 1. The single digit one. Like he was a baby, about to turn into a toddler when I started the journey with Cuddler. And it was like, I can push myself, but I'm going to push myself within this particular parameters. So I knew we had a certain window of time. Sometimes though, you make that bet with yourself. I make that bet with myself and say, I'm going to push myself. I'll rest immediately after. And then the after doesn't come. And then all the stuff on the to-do list continues. Particularly, my partner and I have 2 kids. They're 8 and 11. This has been nonstop, like forever. We're talking decades of this, right? Not to mention the dynamics with all of y'all that don't have kids or parents taking care of, whatever. We all got our stuff. People who are adulting, and we're adulting the right way. We all got responsibilities. Listen, that list doesn't stop. And so make sure if you make that promise to yourself, as far as saying this needs to happen now because of the timing, and that promise is that you're going to rest after, for God's sake, please rest after. And that's how we end up getting, frankly, hemmed up. As we used to say back in the day, you end up getting hemmed up because you were promised to yourself rest, and that means that you're pushing yourself way harder than you normally would, based on that promise you made to your body and your soul. And sometimes we don't fulfill that promise. And our body will come to collect. From a practical standpoint, one of my favorite products or services, whatever you want to call it, to actually allow you to offload some of that is a company called Strikingly. Shout out to y'all. I've been working with them for a long time. I want to say I've had my stuff with them for about 6 years, maybe even 10 years. It's been a long time. Probably since, I started my journey as far as publishing company, which was about 8 or 9 years ago. Strikingly is fantastic. Let me go ahead and pull them up and yeah, hopefully hopefully my technology will cooperate. Share screen. There we go. And let's get you going. Awesome. Looks like it's working. Good job, Damon. All right. And so, strikingly, make a website in minutes. You might have heard of similar stuff like Wix or what's the other one called? Squarespace, stuff like that. I'm partial to Strikingly for quite a few reasons. Number one, the customer service is awesome. Number two, their pricing is great, particularly for what they do. And number three, they're really good with the multimedia. And I'll go ahead and show you the basic one. This is stuff you're going to see at Strikingly, the main website. Again, all the links are below. These are affiliate links. And so I actually will get something from it. More importantly, you guys will get something from it. And so there's actually bonuses in there because I was able to work it out with the company. So you can see what's happening. You can see that they've been around for a minute and they're pretty reliable. The e-commerce store, this was the game changer. And let's go ahead and hop into it. I'll go and get on my, let's stop that screen. And then I'll go and get onto my own website, which is built on Strikingly. There we go. And not trying to plug anything, just to make sure that you guys saw the flow. And so this is what was built on Strikingly. I actually built it myself. Did not take that long. What I love is the integration of, there I am on the TED stage back in the day. And so everything's built in there, like my sizzle reel, they call it. So like if people want to hire me as a keynote speaker, which is part of what I do, if you want me to keynote speak, shoot me a DM, let me know what's happening. My strength quiz, which is based on Bring Your Worth. And then there's my mug over there. And then it just flows from there. Enough about me. But that's kind of how it works. And what I love about it, in fact, there is one other thing. See, I lied. There's one other thing I wanted to show you guys. Yeah, I forgot the main reason I was showing you guys that. All the way at the bottom, continuous scroll, and my engagements, so all the speaking I've done, and podcast appearances. This is where it gets fun. So the whole store, my store, if you want to coach with me, if you want to buy books directly from me and have them signed, if you want, I do not have my Bring Your Worth t-shirt right now. Shout out to Charmaine Jackson, Dr. Charmaine Jackson, for the Get You a Therapist t-shirt. I'll go and throw a link below. If you want to get the Bring Your Worth mug, if you want to get involved with merch or whatever, then you can get it all through here. So you have my coaching, you have the complete Bring Your Worth collection that we're talking about right now. You have if you want the full physical ones, if you want them, I got them. Passive Writer, shout out to Jeanette Hurt, my co-author on this, talking about passive income for writers. You get them all there, as well as the old school Built From Now t-shirt. So you can cop that, etc. All that is in there. I'm gonna close this up. There we go. Looks like we're still on the air. Again, technology's been wild today with the heat. But all that's built in there. The reason I bring that up is that I don't have a separate website for what they call fulfillment, or one that's going to accept the payments for things and all that. All that is built within Strikingly. I think I pay a slight extra charge just to have that store in there. It's worth it because you can go to damebrown.net right now, and anywhere from us having a coaching consulting where I do a 15-minute consulting with someone who wants to coach with me, we find out if we're a good fit, or you end up buying a Bring Your Worth mug, t-shirt, whatever. It's all in there. So when I was traveling and hanging out with my fam last week during, again, the 4th of July here in the United States, I didn't have to worry about fulfilling things. It was just all that ordering process was all in there. That's what I mean by giving yourself a break and allowing your business to run itself. Strikingly is a great companion with it. Again, I get so many pitches for different websites and different platforms and different fulfillment. And again, I'm a founder myself, so I know what's out there. I know some folks that are creating these types of platforms. And I've been with Strikingly for a long time for a reason. So shout out to Strikingly. I appreciate y'all. And be sure to check out the link and click the link below, to check out what's happening, as well as go to damebrown.net and see what Strikingly can do. Again, they're killer with the multimedia. Not only having stores on there, but also as far as e-commerce, but also with me being able to embed the different TED related talks I've done, the keynotes I've done. Almost all of them are embedded in my website, and it's really smooth, and I love how it works. My favorite book right now, hands down. And if you've been watching recently, I've been reading so much. I've been reading like probably a book every 2 weeks, which is a lot for me. Sometimes a book a week. That's where I was at, more in the spring. Summertime, I'm slowing down a little bit. Fantastic book. Rest, not rest. I don't know what a rest is. Rest is Resistance by Dr. Tricia Hersey. Shout out to you. I don't know you, but I love your work. Fantastic, fantastic book. I cannot recommend it more. It talks about how rest, it's not as simple as us saying, I can't take a break right now because I'm a business owner or my family needs me or whatever. It's not as simple as that. It's actually a little bit more insidious, to be honest. It's more that the capitalist system that we have, particularly here in America, focused on America, but I think it does apply. A little bit of travel I have done does apply to other first world, if you want to call it, countries. The capitalist system that we have right now is built to extract as much as possible from the worker, from the creator, from the consumer, from the founder, from the creator, from the consumer. And you can use different terms for that trifecta. So we're all part of this system. We're all part of this game. The consumer wants to continue to buy things based on what they're told. But to buy things, you need to have money. To have money, you need to work. So many consumers are working overtime so they can keep up with the Joneses and fit into the advertising model or whatever deep conversation you want to have with that. But you know where I'm going with that, I believe. The worker needs to continue to work because the systems are set up so that it might not be equitable for them. They don't necessarily have the power. Unless you're talking about unions and other things, but the average worker does not have the power to say, hey, I'm going to get a raise today. Hey, my kid is sick. I'm going to go and stay at home. They usually need to at minimum, get a cosign. Worst case scenario, they can't. They need to keep going. And of course, it falls to us as founders because the way things are built, we need to make an impact or want to make an impact in a certain way. But we might not get the resources that not even deserve, but actually need to make an impact in the world. The reason why I started a publishing company was because the publishers that I was in communication with, I'll put it like that, did not see the vision for this show. They did not see the vision for what became best-selling books. They didn't see the vision. They believed that the side hustle, the solopreneur, the non-traditional entrepreneurs, literally the 18,000 plus of y'all that subscribe to this show to this day, the publishers I talked to said y'all did not exist. What? What? That's why I'm doing a whole thing with creative power strategy. Again, I mentioned at the top of the show, as far as finding your particular strategy to work within the system. Again, in case you missed, I did the episode 2 weeks ago. It's in the links I just talked about at the top of the show. Be sure and check it out. That's why I'm doing the whole thing, because we need to find ways to work within the systems that we're in. So you got me hitting the microphone, but work within the systems that we're in. She gets into that and articulates it in ways she's got a PhD for a reason. Like, she's got it on a whole nother level. I love the book. I'm savoring it. I'm just taking my time reading it. Whew. It's such a good book. If you're not sure why you feel like you can't take a break, buy this book. It will explain to you why you feel like you can't take a break. If you want some healthy consumerism, support Dr. Hershey's stuff. You will not regret it. Okay? Fantastic book. Again, my favorite book so far this year, like by far. It ain't even close. Speaking of such, one of my other favorite authors, Brene Brown, shout out to her. How to Slow Down Without Losing Your Business. I've been mentioning this episode a lot because it's actually fit really well, particularly here in the summertime, here in America. And it's kind of that time when we want to slow down, when we feel guilt or shame around it. Brene Brown, super busy, focused on emotional intelligence, particularly guilt and shame. And about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I think it was February before last, she went on LinkedIn and our social media platforms. I'm really only on LinkedIn, but on the social media platforms. And she said, hey, I'm burning out. So I'm going to stop for a little while. I'll probably be back in the fall, but yeah. I got 2 podcasts and about 1,000 episodes on both of them. Yeah. right? Right. As Biggie said, if you want more game, just press rewind. Like, I already said what I got to say, and I need to take a break. And if you know her story, she's a recovering alcoholic. She's dealt with a lot of guilt and shame in her life. She's all like, I'm not going to go to the break so I can just keep creating. I don't care about the Netflix special. No, I'm gonna take a break. The way she did it was so graceful. I did a whole episode about it. Episode's about 15 minutes long. It's absolutely worth your time. Again, if you're struggling with guilt or shame around taking a break, definitely go ahead and see what's up with that. All right, so we're talking about specifically, if I can get my voice back. Suddenly my voice went away. My apologies. It was like, hey, it's 115 degrees. You don't need a voice, Damon. Why? How to run your business while on vacation. We just talked about why can't I take a break. If you're struggling with that, again, we just talked about it, but it comes down to maybe your to-do list is too long and you need some help, or you need to change those expectations. Maybe you're being a little bit too much of a perfectionist when it comes to how things are executed, or you feel like the timing is perfect right now, but then you have to ask yourself, is timing perfect in a market universe standpoint, macro, as the economists say, or is it perfect because you really want to do it right now? If it's perfect because you really want to do it right now, that means you don't need to do it right now. That means you can actually be patient about it. Again, my name is Damon Brown. You're watching Bring Your Worst Show. I'm entrepreneurial coach, side hustler, solopreneurs. I got your back. I got your support. I'm with you. It's every Wednesday at 1:11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Vegas time. You subscribe for free. So do you feel like you can't take a break? Why do you feel like you can't take a break? Jump into the comments. I'd love to hear your take on it. All right. So it's like, all right, maybe I can go ahead and take a break. I understand what's going on with that.